Man, oh man, hope you guys are all enjoying your morning so far. Welcome back, as per usual, more esports talk. The talk of the town right now, guys, that being CSGO pro players complaining about their schedules and about their play times, waking up early for matches. This is actually a couple days back, the top of the Reddit. I think over 10,000 upvotes, if not more than that, and tons of pros now responding, either jokingly or actually siding with Stewie, who started and sparked this little debacle and debate. Gonna give you guys my thoughts on this, read off some of those tweets as well, and ask you guys what you think about this when we have Counter-Strike pros complaining about waking up for 10 a.m. matches. I will tell you from my point of view, I don't think we necessarily understand the full story of what it's like to be a Counter-Strike pro currently in this climate, but we do have a variety of responses out there which touch on several key issues. First of all, obviously with Stewie saying F 10 a.m. matches, that is all. He followed up after a lot of backlash saying, if it's so easy, then why don't you guys come do it for yourselves, or you can't. I'm not complaining about my position in life, LOL, but the overwhelming amount of tournaments that saturate the scene and the inconsistency of starting 10 a.m., 12, 3, lack of practice, and other factors. Automatic giving a quick tweet himself saying, I'm so happy to be waking up at 10 a.m. to be playing the game I love. I'm a pet Chet responding to that saying same, fantastic, which is very ironic because Chet is now potentially going to Valorant. Rest in peace. Vanity further adding, how hard is it to understand pros are on a schedule? Every North American team, as far as I'm aware, starts at 11:30 or 12 PST. Being expected to perform at your best 2 hours before you typically are focused and ready to play CS is going to make people upset. Davey giving his thoughts saying, I agree 10 a.m. starts isn't optimal for the highest quality games, but starting a crap storm over it on Twitter when our scene is already in its most fragile state probably isn't the play if you're a pro player right now. Take it up with the TOs privately or refuse to play. And so obviously a lot of varying opinions out there. Super curious what you guys think as well amidst these pro players giving their responses. You know, my take is we probably don't understand exactly what kind of stress and of course scheduling these guys are under. We all know the current state Counter-Strike has been in for a long time now of oversaturation. Too many matches, too many maps, too many tournaments, and these pros, you know, a lot of them seemingly pretty much need to compete in as much as possible as their organizations require, or even they want to as well. We do not understand the kind of scheduling these guys go through and the rigorous daily schedule they also perform under. That is why I really appreciate someone like Alex coming out, you know, amidst all of this and saying, hey, here is my schedule. Here is why shifting that schedule an hour or 2 hours can really interrupt a lot of things. What Davey even alluded to, you know, if all of a sudden your schedule is shifted, or Vanity said as well, 2 hours, you're probably not going to be optimal for your performance. And so that does change a lot of things for these pro players. I really like how Alex comes out and literally translates for both sides of people, you know, whether it be his over the seas fans or his newly established North American fans. He translates his entire schedule to show you guys what he does on an hourly basis and why changing that schedule can greatly influence a pro player's life. And so that is why a lot of them were complaining. It's very tough to see. Even more tough to see is someone like Bymas, who has now come forward on Twitter to, give his schedule and how difficult his life has been. This kid is going to school and then practicing and scrimming and competing at a pro level. I do not know how this kid does it. Not a clue, okay? I could barely balance school and football practice. This guy is balancing school and being a full-time pro as a teenager. You got to think where a lot of these pros are coming from. I understand there are so many sides to look at, why some people out there might be pissed off that pro players are complaining about practice times, but it influences probably a lot more than we give it credit for. And it's just, yeah, I don't know. Overall, North American CSGO right now, it continues to struggle. And part of that struggle we talked about a few days back, that being oBo leaving Complexity. Obviously, Complexity, yes, EU roster, but oBo going back to North America, being a North American player himself and announcing his struggles in the TwitLonger. He has now finally given his response as to why he did leave that roster. At this point in time, I'm just hoping he comes back to compete again. I don't know what his future might be, but another young pro out there who has experienced so much in his yonder years, right? Just 17 years old and experienced more than I probably have in my entire 32-year life. Here's what he had to say. As what he called the hardest decision he has ever made with Complexity. With talks of lockdowns and chaos returning in UK and with no end in sight, I was not comfortable being so far from home during this volatile time. I never expected to live on a European team. It was one heck of a year, but I couldn't handle it anymore. I gave it my absolute all, but I underestimated how much I valued having time at somewhere that feels like home. I've been overseas and navigating Europe through this pandemic for the majority of this year, but at one point it had to stop. Going and living in Europe for extended periods of time will never be a problem for me. The problem was on this team, it seemed never ending. With all the unrest in the UK and the whole world currently, I had to make the decision I know is right. And he goes on to thank Complexity and, of course, Jason Lake for their efforts. I mean, God, sometimes in the mornings where I've had like a lot of coffee and I'm overthinking these situations, I really just try and think what it's like to not only be a pro player, but be a pro player at 17 years old, and to see what he has seen. It makes me feel so immature and inexperienced. We'll never fully understand what these pros are going through. Some of them are complaining about 10 a.m. matches. Some of them are now leaving European rosters to go back to North America. And some of them are trying to go to school and full-time compete as well. It's a tough scene out there for Counter-Strike pros, guys. So please give me your opinions, but be nice in doing so on what you think about this. I am trying my best to come back to covering more Counter-Strike news, but it's been a wild ride. I'll see you guys back here Monday. In case you guys did miss it, ESIC is going to release their first statements on the coaching bug scandal, a spectating bug stemming back to 2015, and the Counter-Strike scene will be, you know, it'll never be the same. And so I'll see you guys back here Monday, maybe over the weekend as well, if I can think of some other content. Until then, drink your water, drink your coffee. I'll see you guys back here sometime soon. Take care.